Welcome to the Showgirl Connection. I'm your host, Luann. Today I have in the studio with me Phillip Goldstein. And I met Phillip back in 1978. We were both in the big MGM stage show spectacular, Hallelujah Hollywood. And then we went on to rehearsals for Jubilee. And we were weeks out when the MGM fire struck. So I know Phillip went on to be in Jubilee for 10 years. And I never went back. I went to the Lido and went to some other shows. But and then we've kind of lost track of each other. But we've reconnected over the years at different little gatherings because, you know, show people, we always love to have little gatherings. Right?
Yeah.
And
said, hey, hello.
Yeah.
Haven't seen you.
Yeah.
No,
and I was confused because you used a different stage name.
Right. Roger Blaze.
Roger Blaze.
Yeah. But no, I've been in town so long that I just basically end up running into people that are still here. And
yeah, you're pretty much a local.
Well, 53 years this month. But having so many people that I've known, Aaron and Ed from
At their
Hollywood
garden
party, and that's where we ran into each other. It's just fascinating that the people that you see, those of course that are still here, and then those that make the trip back to Las Vegas, and you run into them at some event or something somewhere, and it's really fascinating. How many people that were in the show, and being able to run into people again and say hello and catch up, and you go, "That's you? Oh, it is, yeah." I guess.
And then we have to show our photos.
We have to look at.
Oh, I remember that person.
Yeah. Right. But I've always come to recognize the eyes because everything else changes, but the eyes very rarely do.
I agree.
So that's where I see most people and go, "Oh yeah, I remember." And of course, as we remember people, we remember them from what we last saw them as when we were in the show.
Like in our 20s.
Yeah. And most of us were. We were.
Yeah.
I mean, I was at one point the youngest principal singer that has ever been on the Las Vegas Strip. There had never been anybody at my age as a principal lead singer in a major production show. I was.
How old were you?
22, basically. It was at a time because my birthday's in December, but.
So is that when you came into Hallelujah Hollywood?
I was in Hallelujah Hollywood in January of 1978. So I was 19. And I was an understudy because I didn't turn 20 until December of 1978. So I was a chorus singer and then principal understudy in the last year and a half or so of Hallelujah Hollywood. And then I became the principal lead singer in Jubilee. At that time when we opened, it was 5 principal lead singers. It got cut down to 4, but we had 5.
Men or men and women? Men. Okay. Yeah.
And at that time, each of us had parts to learn, and they used to have a rotating kind of thing. You had to understudy everybody else's male principal lead singer parts, because at any one time, you could be put into that, and that was the whole concept. So my main parts of what I did were the same. And in the beginning, there wasn't a dark night. It was a rotating, 13 days off, 13 days on, 1 day off. So we did that in Hallelujah Hollywood, and then Jubilee had a little bit of a change up.
Wow, the leads did 13 days
on and 1 day off. Yeah.
Because we did 6 days on, 1 day off.
Right. And so that was the schedule. And I remember the first contract with Hallelujah that we did 13 shows a week.
2 shows a night, 3 on Saturday.
3 on Saturday, right. So that was 13 shows. And we thought, wow, Jubilee. And I don't remember exactly at what point that we went down to 12 shows a week.
Yeah.
Because they cut out the 2:30 a.m. show that was Saturday night at some point. And we were like, yes, 12 shows, not 13, yes. And it was like, wow. And now you go to a production show or any of these shows, and they're doing 1 a night. I'm like,
oh, and they're dark.
How did you, yeah, right.
They're dark like maybe 2 nights a week.
Gee, what a, wow.
What a concept.
Right. So basically that was.
So did you sing A Pretty Girl's Like a Melody as we walked down
I've done
the
that,
stairs?
yeah. A pretty girl is like a melody.
Love that song.
But that was part of the understudying. Yes, I did do that whole part at the end. But as you would know, a lot of times that with the showgirls or the principals, as it were, usually without shoes, 6 feet tall, put them in those great big heels, and you're like, a pretty girl is like a melody.
So how tall are you?
I'm 6 feet tall,
Okay.
but we
Yeah.
didn't have.
Yeah, well, you didn't have 3.5-inch heels.
Exactly. Or if I did, I would be like, whoa, fall over. But no, that was some of the things that I thought were kind of humorous about the show. I always had a fascinating time whenever I went up onto the side stages, because there was a different view. And then if you were up in that whole top area with the passerelle and the things that would come down out of the ceiling, it was absolutely a fascinating showroom, let alone the stages itself.
Yeah.
And how the doors would open and the stages would go up and down and could go down 2 floors below. And the other thing for me as a singer is you want to know when do I start? Okay, we rehearse, but it was live music. It wasn't
Right,
pre-recorded.
right.
And there would be the early version, which actually I saw a few days ago when I saw the Beautiful Noise Neil Diamond musical at the Smith Center. At the back, facing the stage, were 2 big monitors, and you could see the conductor, and that's what we had in back when, 1981,
Yeah.
because the
And
orchestra
remember, they were
was
down in the basement.
they were the next floor down. They
Yeah.
were underneath, along with the dressing rooms.
Yeah.
And the other part with those dressing rooms being there is one night I actually counted, and I'm sure most people did a lot more, some maybe did a lot less, but on average, between the shows, I would do 40 flights of stairs a night,
Wow, I believe that.
a 40-story building every night.
I believe that.
Because with the costume changes,
Because
being
you
on
go up
stage
3
and
flights of
performing,
stairs to come down
and
those
then you
3 flights
come
of
racing
stairs.
downstairs, go in
Yeah.
and get changed if it wasn't a quick change on the side, and then you'd run back up the stairs again, whether you're on stage left or stage
That's right.
right entrance, and you have to go flying up the stairs. So one time I said, I need to find out how many how many flights of stairs am I doing in a night? I counted, it was 40 flights of
Wow.
stairs, a 40-story building
I
every
believe
night.
that.
So
That's
that
why
was,
and then we were dancing.
and doing
So did
the
you
thing.
ever dance? Are you a dancer?
No.
Okay,
Oh
I
my
did.
God, no. Oh, klutz. Yeah,
Well, you did some of the. You did a little.
Well, there was the
ballroom.
movements
Yeah.
and that kind of thing, but
Yeah.
dance?
No.
Oh,
Okay.
I was 2 left feet.
So you pretty much grew up here. So what was it like growing up in Las Vegas at the stage show spectacular? I mean, the entertainment capital of the world.
Yeah.
And how did that influence you? And you said you were the youngest lead singer. I'm sure you were performing and singing much younger to get
yeah.
to that point. So tell me a little bit about that.
The early years we moved here in 1972 in August. So now we're taping in August of 2025. So this experience that I went through going to school here, I'd always loved performing and singing. In fact, we came from Tucson. I was in the Tucson Boys Chorus.
Okay.
And I started singing, playing drums right about 7 years old. So at the time, as I got older, a few years went by, and my dad said, I'm thinking of retiring, and I think what we'll do is, because he had business in Tucson, Phoenix, Las Vegas, and Denver, and he said, let's go to Las Vegas. You can get all of the best instruction, singing, dancing. I did take tap dance, drums, music, all of that. So we arrived here, and that's what happened. And at a point, I was taking about 10 lessons a week in addition to going to school. And I would start my day at 5 a.m. I would get up, and I knew exactly at the minute every day, getting up at the exact same time, going to the gym, working out, taking a shower, taking all the things that I needed, heading off to school in Valley High School.
Okay.
And then as soon as that was done, I had my lessons that I was doing singing, guitar, piano, whatever. And then I would get home, have dinner, and then I would do my studies, homework,
Wow.
and be ready for the next day, getting into bed at the exact time, and waking up the next day, getting to bed at 9-ish, thereabouts, getting up the next day, 5 a.m.,
Wow.
and starting the whole process all over again.
So when did you start performing?
Well, in the summertime, in between starting in high school, because freshman year, that summer, before the next year I started, I'd had a little band, and I started to perform. So I figured, well, let me make some recordings, which I did. And then I started going around to the different entertainment directors and said, hey, I've got a band. And of course they looked at me, this 14-year-old kid, and they kind of smiled. Now, the one thing that I did have in my favor is two things. One, I got on stage at the Landmark Hotel, and it was 1974, I believe, and there was a showcase of talent.
Nice.
So I had got pictures of that, of me playing piano on stage, singing, and I had charts written. So I did that and
As
had
your
those pictures.
rehearsal tape, for your rehearsal CD.
Well,
or
it was the
whatever
pictures that I could use of it
Oh,
on
got it.
stage.
Yeah, yeah.
So that kind of helped to open the doors. And in between my school years every summer, I would perform at the lounges in different hotels. And one year I was at the Tropicana in the lounge there, and I would do 6 shows a night, basically 6 nights a week. And it was 45 on, 15 off. But because I was underage,
Yeah.
security guard had to meet me as I finished the last song and walk me all the way to a common area, and the closest one at that time was near the gift shop.
Yeah.
And so I would go there, I'd have to hang out there for 15 minutes and then be escorted back into the lounge. And this
Wow.
went on from 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. Every night. And so
What great experience.
it was,
Yeah.
it truly was, because not only was I writing my own charts, picking the music, rehearsing the band, all of those things, but being able to be one-on-one and talk with the audience
Yeah.
and people in various stages of sober or drunkenness, and being able to handle yourself and smiling and performing and not letting things get into your head.
Yeah.
And
So,
being-
and then how old were you when you auditioned for Hallelujah Hollywood?
the first time I was 16.
And what did Fluff say?
Well, it was Don.
Oh, it was Don Arden.
You go, not quite yet. Come back next year.
Okay.
And I did. I went back because he would see auditions. And I know that Jubilee opened in, I think it was 1970, December of 73. Hallelujah Hollywood,
Hallelujah
I'm
Hollywood,
sorry.
yeah.
December 73. And finally, after repeated auditions, I kept going back, and finally, in 1977, that audition, then I got a call in late 77
Yeah.
when I was singing in another show in another city, and said, are you interested still in singing and being in Hallelujah Hollywood? I said, sure, when? They said, well, it's a mid-contract, January of 1978.
And you, how old were you?
I was basically 19.
Okay, good for you. Wow.
So at 19, because I just had my 19th birthday,
Yeah.
and then I didn't turn 20 until December of 1978. So I finished the last year and a half of Hallelujah Hollywood
Yeah.
in where the show ended, and basically thereabouts.
Well,
And
we
then-
went in and out the backstage door. Did you have to be 21 to be in the casinos? How old?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'd go in and out the backstage door, so it didn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, that's where it all kind of started with that. I'd still been doing my own thing, my own lounge show or singing in another show. And then we got into the Hallelujah Hollywood, and then it was Jubilee, auditioned, and I became a principal lead singer for Jubilee. And in fact, there's a photo of me sitting on the throne as the king with everybody around me, and I had to wear this fake beard because I had this baby face. I was just so young looking that it was like, what? So they put this beard on me so But I just remember that as being one of the funny
And that's
things.
when you're with Belinda, right?
Yeah. She would sit on the arm of the chair, and I had this gorgeous redhead sitting right
Yes.
here on the arm of the chair. And
6'1" redhead,
yeah,
barefoot.
just beautiful, beautiful. I mean, all the people they hired there were just gorgeous. You know,
Yeah.
didn't hire anybody that wasn't.
And so it wasn't Tracy was your wife. Did you guys get married?
We met in Hallelujah, Hollywood, and then after the show closed, well, the fire that closed the show,
Yeah.
basically, and then she went back to Europe, but then did come back, and then when she did come back, we got back together, and then it wasn't until June of 1982, after Jubilee opened,
Yeah.
and that's when we got married in June of '82.
Okay.
So brought back a haunting thing for me. Unfortunately, she passed away last year,
Oh,
2024. And she was living in Florida. We divorced at the time, but she was living in Florida. And the very day, I mean, we got married on June 10th, 1982. And pure random, whatever you want to call it, she was on life support, and they pulled the plug June 10th, 2024. Exact same day.
You guys got married.
Yeah.
Did you
And I
didn't
didn't
have
know it.
children? And did you have children?
No.
And you didn't know that this
I
was
didn't-
going on because you guys weren't.
No, I didn't know. I mean, we had been in contact a little bit up and back
Yeah.
about some things, but I didn't know that she'd gone into the hospital, sadly. But it wasn't until some months afterwards that I'd spoken to her sister in England and people that knew her at the time,
Yeah.
and they said it was June 10th of 2024, and I was like, what? What was the date?
That is-
What date? It was just pure random, but
Yeah,
I thought
yeah.
kind of an interesting thing. But
Yeah.
anyhow, we met in the show, and then we got married in, as I said, June 10th, 1982. And then, even though Jubilee opened in '81,
Right.
I believe, but the time before that with the fire, we were rehearsing Jubilee in the day and doing Hallelujah Hollywood
Yes, I
at night.
remember that well.
Oh boy, was that
Boy.
rough.
Yeah.
And I'm so thankful
Yeah.
I was in my, at that age of 22, that kind, well, you could do that. That's the kind of thing. So basically, at
Yeah,
that time of
couldn't
the
do
fire,
that today.
at that time of the fire, we're performing at least 2 shows a night and then rehearsing from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Jubilee, and then showing back up. 6 o'clock was the call, I think, if I remember right.
And if I remember right, weren't we getting paid a whopping $5 an hour?
I don't remember.
You might have been getting paid more because you were a lead.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
But I just remember that whole thing,
Yeah.
and then a few matter of weeks before that we were supposed to open, the fire happens.
Yeah.
And then everybody scatters. That's where Tracy went back to Europe.
So she
And
never did she come back for? Yeah, she came back.
She came back,
She
yeah.
came back. That's right. You just
Because
told
she
me
had
that.
auditioned
Yeah.
for Jubilee as well, and
And
of
I
course
know we
they
were all
wanted her.
promised a
Right.
contract, but I was fortunate. Well, Jubilee was that was a hard show.
Yeah.
I was very thankful when I got into the Lido, because like you said, that we were upstairs, but the flights weren't as seemed like this upstairs wasn't as deep as going downstairs, and it was a smaller stage.
Yeah, I mean,
So I was very happy to be in the Lido.
it was a big stage, but there was also a lot of things happening.
Yes.
Different within the
Larger
opening.
cast. Weren't there 110 when it
I
opened?
thought there was, in fact,
Maybe more?
you know what I heard?
Yeah.
In the very, 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 very beginning,
Yeah.
which they did cut back, there was somewhere in the neighborhood of 147 on stage.
I believe that. I
And
believe that.
Don Arden was such a master of moving
Yes, he
people
was.
around
Yeah.
that 147 performers on a stage, and yet everybody could move around,
Yeah.
and nobody got in
Well, and it was
anybody's way.
choreographed just as intricately backstage as it was on stage,
Yeah.
just to move everybody around.
Yeah, everything was very, very
Yeah.
timed with lights and stage movements and everything computerized. So yeah, it was very, very tightly controlled.
Yeah. Well, we need to take a quick commercial break, but we're going to come back, and then we'll talk a little bit about what happened to you after the shows and how, because we all have to make those transitions
Yeah.
as performers. So we'll be right back.
Tip.
So we're back, and we're talking to Phillip, and we're always talking about things off camera, and we need to be talking about things on camera.
Yeah.
So,
During the break, there's a fascinating conversation
Right.
that always takes place. Hey, do
Right.
you remember this?
yeah.
Yeah.
So we've talked about you growing up here. We talked about you performing in the shows, and now tell me a little bit about your transition, because did you perform after you left Jubilee, or
Oh,
was
yeah.
that? Oh, you did?
Oh, yeah. Jubilee in the first, basically 10 years, and roughly the first 7,000 shows thereabouts, as the original cast member. But after that, because Bally's had purchased it,
Right.
and they'd gone through a lot of financial issues. And in fact, as an aside, I remember the monorail, because Bally's was actually about to go into bankruptcy, and Kirk Kerkorian, who had just built the fabulous new MGM,
Yes.
still owned the deed, if you will, that Bally's purchased the property from him. And he, from all the things that I was told and saw, he built the first part of the monorail system that was between the MGM and Bally's, because he
Oh.
said, gee, I'm sure he thought to himself,
Yeah.
hey, if I take this back, what a quick way to shuffle people between my two properties. Well, from that then became the rest of the monorail system that we know today.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Yeah.
Afterwards, during their financial difficulties, that's when they had to let a significant, I think it was about half of the highest paying parts of
Really?
people of the show
I don't remember
go.
that.
And that was what happened. The end of my contract basically said, we can't afford to rehire. We got to cut the show in half, and we have to let the highest half paid go.
Yeah.
So that happened. And so after that, that's when I went into doing other shows. Actually, at the time, I got into what was called ear prompter work. And what that is I would do conventions, and I had an ear prompter. I went to LA to study for this.
Yeah.
And there was a wireless or small wired ear prompter, and what you would do is you would take a script of whatever it is that you're presenting, medical equipment, things you knew absolutely nothing about.
Right.
And they would give you the script, and you would pre-record it. At that time, it was a micro cassette recorder, and you would read the whole script through, but you had to know the pacing and how to do that, and that was where I went to school in LA for it. And then from that point on, you could do 30, 40, 45-minute presentation,
Nice.
and it would be
You
like
didn't have to memorize it.
you knew the script.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you didn't use a teleprompter, it was an ear prompter, so you were basically a split second later repeating what you heard in your ear and speaking it.
You
So
don't
you
wanna
had
stumble.
to include the inflections, the highlighted parts you wanted to bring out, so you're actually repeating yourself at this point for this feature, you're repeating. And did you see that you're repeating exactly what you recorded, but a fraction of a second later?
Yeah.
And basically, I did a lot of convention work after that into the 90s, past the mid-90s, where they used to pay a lot of money.
Nice.
Wish it was,
Good.
that was,
Rightly so.
I ended up having to only work maybe 5 to 10 days out of the month. and
Nice.
that was it.
Wow.
And there were Panasonic, or like I said, some companies with medical equipment or something you knew nothing about, and you would just do that, and you would just all day in the convention center while their conference or convention was in town. And that's what I did up until a point, and then got involved back in some shows. I'm like, I want to perform. This is
Weren't
This
you
is
in
great.
one of the ice skating shows?
no.
Oh.
No. I ended up doing some shows, a couple of L.A. I first got involved with My Fair Lady, and at that time I played Freddie.
Nice.
So,
And so
I
this
have
was-
often walked down this street before, and I did that. I love that song.
That's a great song.
And then after that, I got into, which was actually the second in line, but Unsinkable Molly Brown,
Yeah.
which was a great musical, and I played a small part in that, which was absolutely fascinating because I didn't actually go on stage until the second half after the intermission. And that was a whole wonderful experience too. But
And
yeah,
this was in L.A.
yeah, and then
And where in L.A. was it?
one of them was was a Civic Light Opera company that put
Okay.
on the production,
Yeah.
and one of them was at an old theater, still in use, and it was designed with no sound system because it was built in the 20s.
Wow.
So even though there was a sound system, yeah, I could still sing, which reminds me of another story. Just prior to me getting into Hollywood, in '77, I was in London as a featured the star singer for the Folies Bergère
Oh, you were?
that they took as a road show there.
Yes.
And we were in the old Victoria Palace Theater,
Wow.
which is an old opera house
Yeah.
that's over 400 years old. Now they do orchestra in the pit, conductor right in front of you, but it was electrified, so they had sound systems and everything. And there was one night the sound system went out
Uh-oh.
during when I was singing. And I just, because I was operatically trained with a musical theater background, but I could just sing out and project. It was the most thunderous applause I'd ever heard. I was like, wait a minute, applaud for the song. But they were just that appreciative of the fact that I didn't need the sound system.
Yeah.
I could just sing out as the theater, the old Victoria Palace Theater, was designed to do. So
Wow.
that was a fun experience. But
And
anyway,
that's great that you got to travel, because I know there was opportunities to travel in those shows back in the day too.
right, and this was prior to me getting to Hollywood, and before that, I did main showroom of the Sahara, the Congo room, and I opened for comedian Jackie Gale, and I had my own act, and I
Nice.
did that, and I did New Year's Eve shows. Anyway, but that's going backwards. So moving forward after Jubilee, then I did this ear prompter work for years. I got involved in or got contacted about doing some conventions outside of Las Vegas, which I did, some singing, some not.
Yeah.
And then got involved with My Fair Lady and Unsinkable Molly Brown, and then got opportunities to be in little bit parts of Dan Tana in Vegas, doing some of those
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did some of those, and then got more involved in the movie scene here a little bit. Vegas Vacation, little bitty parts in there. Oh gosh, what was the other ones? Austin Powers.
Nice. Yeah.
Had a little bit in that, and that was in 1997. Some of the last things I did. In my travels between up and back in Los Angeles and here, I happened to meet a very nice lady. And she was graduating a school that taught Jewish students.
Okay.
And so as we got involved there, she said to me, gee, I want to get a job, but the market here is saturated. And I said, well, why don't you expand out, look at a 300 or plus mile radius.
Yeah.
Las Vegas, Phoenix, Tucson, wherever the area, put it out there. Well, lo and behold, a Las Vegas synagogue said, we need an educator.
Yeah.
And sure enough, she got involved there. And I'd always maintained a home here. So coming back here, for me, was like, all right, I'm back in Vegas. And I was finishing up some projects, getting things done. And got some more, a little bit more convention work and doing some of the movies and things. But she said to me, come on to services. I went, I haven't been to services in a long time. All right, why not? So we went to services of the oldest conservative congregation in the state, and that's where she went to work. And basically, as she would hear me hum or sing some of the melodies I knew, she would like, can I make a recording? And I go, what for? I don't know. So she kept bugging me on it. I took out an old cassette recorder, like a little Panasonic one, opened up, popped in a cassette, closed it, pressed record, sang a couple of the pieces of music liturgy that I knew. I said, okay, here, stop bothering me, take this. And a few months went by, and she took that, obviously, to the congregation's president. I get a phone call months later that says, would you be interested in giving our cantor a vacation break? And I went, I don't know all that kind of. Don't worry about it. We'll get you, training, get the starting, and whatever you don't know, we'll just have the rabbi do this, that, and the other. All right, fine. That started a whole different path that I never dreamed of going down. And once that kind of became a much more ongoing thing that kept coming back, I said, I need real serious training.
Yeah.
And they sent me to LA to get real serious training from real serious, well-known cantors in Los Angeles. And I even got off to some of the schooling when I went to another synagogue in Cincinnati. And there was some summer things that schooling there. But eventually I got into the Cantors Assembly and then was taking tests of, they have a program.
Okay.
So that's what I entered through. And
Wow.
basically, in 2013, when my contract ended at the other synagogue, which was the largest Reform synagogue at the time, I got approached by a bunch of people that formed this synagogue from their dissatisfaction of being treated like a number,
Yeah.
if you will.
A big mega church.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Or
they started
synagogue.
but
Yeah.
they started this one and said, would you come here? And I went, okay, what have you got? And so this is one of the smallest synagogues, Congregation Shirat Shalom, which I'm still there. And they said, we want you to be our cantor and spiritual leader of the synagogue.
Wow.
So I said, okay. And 2014, January 1st, 2014, I went there and became the cantor, and they had an installation of that, and later in 2014, well, I think it was March or April, that I became installed officially as the cantor and spiritual leader of the congregation.
So you
And
go from
then
singing in the big Las Vegas stage show spectaculars
and the
to being a cantor.
and the Review Journal did an article on me.
Yeah,
that
well, it's a
had
great story. I mean,
Yeah.
I've never heard of it.
I've
You're
got-
pretty much it.
I got to find that article. I'll send it to you.
Yeah.
But the Review Journal did a whole article on me with that. And basically, since 1997, with the first association with the conservative synagogue, and then second association with the second, or the Reform synagogue, and then now here, basically this is pretty much what I've been doing ever since
Wow.
that time.
Wow.
But
Well, I came to your synagogue on Friday,
yeah,
and I mean, you have a beautiful voice.
thank you.
And I mean, what a, to be able to sing your whole life. That's,
You know what, my attitude has been, Lord, lead me where I can be of service to you.
Yeah.
Wherever it is you want me to be, I will follow. And God has blessed me with the abilities that I have, the
Yeah.
talents and the things, and you have to use them to the best of your ability of what God gave you, to honor God, to not hold back, because God didn't give you the talents to do the things you did to only be a shadow of what he wants you to be.
interesting. Yeah.
So that is been my philosophy for the longest time, that these doors open, that's okay, I get it, where you want me to go down this path, that's the path I went down.
Well, and to be a performer on the Las Vegas Strip, that's a big deal. That was a big deal back in the day.
Oh,
And you had to
absolutely.
be the best of the best. And the
Oh, yeah.
dedication and commitment that it took for us to be a performer on the Strip.
Absolutely.
And then you hear how everybody has to transition, because, well, especially as dancers and athletes,
Mm-hmm.
you have to transition. You probably could have sang longer, but then the dedication and commitment it took for you to become a cantor and to be able to speak, learn Hebrew.
Yeah. And basically, all of the things, I've looked back at it, and at every different point in my life, I've been able to look back and I've got this ability, but it was here that I learned it, or it was here that I first did, or it was here. And all of these things, as I look back and can look at it from not out, too close to the forest to see the trees, but
Yeah.
from back at whatever they call it, a 30,000-foot view,
Hindsight,
and look at it
yeah.
and say, wow, these were certain things that happened for a reason, because now I'm using all of these things, whether,
See, that's a wonderful thing about getting older, because you can see how your life evolves.
yeah, oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And what we struggle through at the time of our youth is you look back and go, why? What was it that I wasted so much energy on? I wasted so much of that worrying about what somebody thought of, or what somebody did this or that. As you get older, you get that sense of, if you don't like whatever, or you do like it, whatever, great. Both ways are just as good. It doesn't matter. But if you're your own authentic self, which is the important part, then the right people will gravitate to you for being you. And those that aren't right won't be there. So that's with coming of age and wisdom and understanding, you've got to be just your authentic self.
Yeah.
The people that like you for who you are will be there.
Yeah.
And all the rest you don't need. You don't need to worry about, or I've got to get somebody back for saying this, or these people don't think that. No, that is not honoring God. God gave you the talents to be who you are, to be the best of who you can be. And the right people will be there. And if they're not the right people, then they're not in your life any longer.
So were you going to church? Have you gone to church your whole life, or did you go in and out of the church?
In and out, yeah.
But you were raised in
the synagogue, yeah. I had my bar mitzvah in Tucson, Arizona, before moving here, and that was a whole different experience. And looking back on that, there were some things that I could pull off of, but it is in and out. There was a time frame, and it usually does happen after most kids have their bar mitzvah, from about the age of 13 till they get married, and then they start having kids of their own. And then they start to float back into the synagogue world or religious world.
Yeah.
Because they go, oh, I got my kids, I better do something here. So that's a very typical thing. And for me, I kind of floated in and out, and it wasn't until that time where I met this wonderful young lady that graduated at the University of Judaism.
Yes.
And that pulled me back into it again. So you know what? God has a plan. You got to follow it. There's a reason I was in LA at that point in time, to meet her, to then get pulled into this. You look back at it and go, I get it, God. Okay, I understand. God has a plan. We just have to have the faith to follow it. And that's been the whole point of what I've always had to have this as a philosophy. Don't fight it. Just follow God's plan. Don't just stop. Just stop. Don't fight what God has for you. It's far better than whatever you can do on your own, and far greater than you could ever imagine. And you just have to stop fighting it. Allow God to work the magic in you and say, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do. Because it's happened to me way too many times in my life. Different things. I mean, who would have thought? Yes, it's still show business, but doing what I did from performing every night on stage in front of literally millions of people. It was a full house every night.
Yep, it was.
Over 2,000 people. And then you're doing, I go into LA for some classes, falling into ear prompter work, and then coming into doing conventions for quite a few years.
Yeah.
And then that transitions into some other things, and then that transitioned to meeting a person, doing shows in LA, meeting a person, and then getting pulled back into what is another phase, into what I'm doing now, by meeting her, because I did the shows there and doing some of the things there, and then get pulled back into
it's
Las
just being
Vegas.
open to whatever life or God brings. And those wonderful connections.
And whatever, if you don't believe in God, whatever the universe, as some people say.
Yeah.
But I tend not to say the universe. I tend to include the creator of the universe.
Yes.
And that's where you have to just go in faith and follow that which is. Sometimes you don't see it, but that which is laid out before you. And you just have to recognize and accept it, that there are certain things and certain paths. Don't fight it. You have to follow it.
Yeah. Well, what a great. I love your story, because it is so unique, and there's so many great stories out there. We all have so many great stories, and those connections, those Well, that's why I called it the Showgirl Connection, because we have all those. We'll invite some of the show boys on too.
Yeah.
But it's about those connections and those bonds that you make when you're in the shows, and then, wherever life takes you.
And the fascinating, I think I mentioned this to you in one of the breaks, but it was fascinating for me to see the final show of Jubilee, to see the final performance, because having been on stage and watched the curtain from the back, from the stage side, go up for the first time, and then seeing it come down for the last time, it's, to me, when I thought about it, I said, how many people get a chance to see closure, to see not only the beginning, but the end?
Which, yes, I agree with you, but then at one point, I thought, we're becoming history. And who?
Oh, yeah.
And did we ever think those shows were going to close and that those shows wouldn't be around? Because they came to Vegas in 1958, and then, even Alito closing after 75 years.
Yeah.
I agree, because I've opened and closed shows, and it's fun to see, but then it also... Then we're becoming history.
Right, as part of it.
And so I guess that's the process of aging.
Absolutely.
What did you say the other day when we were talking about how when you're younger, life brings...
and when you're younger, life gives, you're given. It's like everything comes easily when you're younger, because life gives you things. You've got youth, you've got strength, you've got beauty, you've got all the things that seem to be easy to acquire or to get, or just falls in your lap. But as you get older, life then starts to take. Sometimes it takes your strength, it takes your youth, it takes, for some, as it would call it, their beauty, but it also takes people and friends.
Yeah.
And as it goes on, the longer you live, which is a blessing, then you start to lose a lot of the people that you once knew. Yeah. And we've lost a lot of people that I know of in the shows. We've lost a lot of show people. Yeah. We have. And but as all things, it's a part of life, the cycle and all of the things. But if you're blessed to still be here and to see that and to be there, sometimes you can be a great source of comfort too. Sometimes you can be something you didn't realize
for someone else.
For someone else. And that's the other part of, we have to be giving back comfort or giving back something, because life takes, but you also have to give in order to share your experience, share whether your knowledge, share your life, whatever things that you've learned, knowing when to say something, knowing when not to say something, and bringing all of that to bear, because God is using you again to help somebody that maybe you have been in that position, but you might be able to be something, a word, whatever, that can be a help at the time of what they needed. Again, just don't fight it. God puts you in places for a reason, or the universe puts you in places for reasons, and you just have to go, okay, I'm here, I accept it, what am I going to learn from this? And I've always thought that there are no mistakes, or, when they say bad things happen in life, it can change you if you let it, or you can learn from it and grow from it.
Yep, very well said.
It's a choice that we all have.
Yes.
Do you let it make you bitter and angry and resentful, or do you learn to grow and say, there's better days out ahead of me. I can learn something from this and become a better person because of this, and learn and step forward. And it's hard to do sometimes because we just don't know what the future is. But that's where you have to step out in faith.
Yeah. I'm so glad we reconnected.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you came onto the show. And so what I would like to give back to you is the opportunity to wear a show hat. And I'm sorry I don't have one from the Lido, but this is from Hello Hollywood Hello.
Right, in Reno.
From Reno. And that was the men's hat.
Huh.
There you go.
Where's the front? It doesn't have a...
I don't know if it... And
let's see.
I don't know if John can scan over to the... We have our mannequin over... we were doing something earlier in the day, and she's wearing the costume that goes with that hat. But we also have this hat from the Folies Bergère. So don't take it off. Now, this is my favorite part, where we put on the hat,
The Folie Bergère.
Yes, we'll do a little.
We call it the
We'll do a little
the
we'll do a little
Follies.
shot together. Oh my,
You know, and that was the thing when you talk
John,
about
we're going to walk over to the mannequin, so
Okay.
The
Philip
history-
can stand by your
Yeah.
showgirl.
the
It matches
history
your hat.
of what we have. We were in the most expensive production show ever put on stage, ever at that time.
When they opened up Jubilee,
It was-
the costumes. It was $10 million.
Yes, and
There was a worldwide shortage of Swarovski crystals.
and because of it, I'm sure. But
Yeah.
can you imagine? I think it would be like $60-70 million
Oh,
in today's world.
yeah. So let's walk over
So-
because here's your partner.
Our-
Thank you so much for coming on.
Oh, my
to the
pleasure.
Showgirl
Thank you
Connection.
for having me.
And we'll see you next time.